I'm Aaron.
And I'm Nathan.
And we're the Enduro Bros. Try it again.
The Enduro Bros. So as we started our trip, we had some expectations. We kind of expected to be tired most of the time, to be dirty. We got coveralls specifically for the occasion.
I surprised you with the coveralls.
Yeah, I did not plan on that.
He's lying.
Any other expectations you had?
Expected to be in a rush a lot of the times, which was kind of a sad thing to think about, but knowing that we had a long ways to go, I knew we'd be pushed for time quite a bit, and that only proved to be more and more true as the trip went on.
Yeah. Another thing is our expectations, of course, led to our preparations, and one thing I know Aaron thinks of whenever traveling is to look as homeless.
Intimidating.
Intimidating is the word I was looking for. Sorry. So what are the ways that he prepares as he grows himself a nice travel beard? It's a good deterrent to being pestered, robbed, or approached.
It's true. Nathan can attest to the fact there'd be people peddling or wanting to potentially take you for a scam whenever you'd end up at a border or whatever, and there'd be a line of us, whitey, and they'd get to the first 2 or 3 people, kind of look over at me, and Nathan's standing right next to me, and they would just take a loop and walk around. Right now, we're pretty excited to head up to the Axis Retreat and hang out with some of our good friends before we take off on this trip. So, before we took off, we ended up heading up to the Axis Retreat. It would have been a great time of relaxation, and it was good to be with our church and have fellowship with them before we took off. It was refreshing spiritually.
And I pray, too, that they'll be forever changed by it.
But the problem is that it was 2 weeks after the original takeoff date for our trip.
So obviously, with 2 weeks less in our itinerary, we were pressed for time every place we went to, and we didn't feel comfortable stopping for any length of time. So for a good length of our trip, we never stopped, just rode straight through.
Irony is killing me. The fact that I put so much time into getting my exhaust straight, a couple $100, and just a real pain in the butt. We're no more than 40 miles from home. Haven't had one problem with Nathan's exhaust, and his muffler pops off, and now his bike sounds like my bike has sounded for the last I don't know how long. Grab the tough book right there. It's nice. It kind of takes the stress off of having a laptop that might break with all the dust and crap that gets into them. Finally reunited with Nathan. I don't know what he was doing, where exactly he was sitting at, but he's back.
So to start things off, today I find myself with a black eye and without a muffler as it fell off, and the change is significant. So how are you feeling about the trip as it starts?
I'm very, I don't know, it's got me a little bit worried. it's got I don't know. Now we can start heading west, get out of Wisconsin, head over to Iowa, go meet up with the family. Should be a good time. See everybody for one last day, and then head to Colorado the next day. And our family was waiting at another Christian camp called Hidden Acres for us to come and spend time with them. That was actually our sister and brother-in-law and nephew as well. This is right after the Tank story. You remember Tank, the rodeo horse. Nathan was met by some interesting individuals.
Yeah, I was out with the bikes. All of our stuff was still strapped to it, and two guys are out there just kind of looking them over, and they're asking a lot of questions. They seem really interested, and it doesn't take long before they find out what we plan to do, and they're immediately drawn in because this has been their dream for a long time. They ride together, but they just can't get the amount of time to do a trip like this together. So we are friends.
Man, they've just been a blessing to us. They've hooked it up. We got Nathan's exhaust for him for the KLR because it fell off and he didn't know where it was at. The helmet mounts are
like that. What's the helmet mount right there?
perfect.
Man.
Yeah, these things were what we were looking for. We spent two hours wasted that we should have spent with the family yesterday. It was stupid of us, but every place kind of promised to have them and it didn't, so this is all we needed.
Yeah, now tell you what, take this, we've got a slug of these. This is actually one of the new Hero 2s. It's got the LCD backpack on it so you can see what you're aiming for.
Okay, well,
Donate to the cause.
Yep, they took us into their homes. We ate dinner with, call one guy Doc. Jeez Louise! Holy cow!
This is my toy box.
Look at that Honda!
1974.
And both of them just started giving us advice, tips, and actually a good amount of gear.
Yeah.
We got a lot of extra footage for you guys just because of the GoPro that Dave had extra GoPros from his work. So.
Yeah, it was a real godsend.
Nebraska. I feel like if I was there right now, I'd zoom in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Put some.
Nebraska.
Bom, bom.
What? Okay, so this is Nebraska, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna ride right through the night. We left Iowa at shoot, I don't know. We're almost 10 o'clock,
Almost 10?
and I think we're gonna ride straight across Nebraska during the nighttime. I really don't like Nebraska. Neither does Nathan. I don't know too many people that do. Driving through it anyways. There might be great people and things. I don't know. I've never really hung out in Nebraska, but I know driving through it's always the bane of my westward existence. So. And as the night progressed, things became uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, a deep, wet fog with cold wind.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how cold it got, but I know that I was shivering, and we had layers on. I was still shivering. It was only September, but just incredible temperature difference would have been during the day to night.
That was the first time that we'd ever worn our rain gear to try to block the wind and keep us from being too cold, but by the time we broke down and did that, we were already so cold it didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Last night we hauled up at a truck stop and just lay out the tarp, put our sleeping bags down. Alright, so we're here at the petrol truck stop. It's a huge one. Just had some breakfast at the Iron Skillet. Tried to ride through the whole night, but it's really miserable riding right now. We're planning on riding straight through the night into the day and not stopping until we got to Colorado Springs. We'll still probably wake up very early, but we definitely need a break from this nasty wetness and cold.
Nebraska.
So yeah. So we ended up. That was the first night we actually slept outside.
Go by some work sheds. There's people working all night in the sheds, but they didn't bother us at all. It was actually a pretty good experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad at all. I slept fairly well. Something bit my hand, and that made me upset because it itched for a long time. I kept on waking up scratching my hand. But
Next morning in Nebraska.
Nebraska.
It's still Nebraska because now we wake up, and just as we suspected, we waited long enough to have the perfect weather to ride. It was perfect.
Yeah.
You could ride in a t-shirt. Everything was great for an hour.
Yeah. Needless to say, when you're sleeping outside a gas station, you don't sleep in. So.
Yeah, we were up, and the first hour riding was beautiful. After that, Nathan, I believe, came up with the analogy of sitting on a motorcycle in front of the world's largest hairdryer.
It was just awful.
It was scorching heat
Yeah.
blowing in your face, and again,
Nebraska.
on a dirt bike, Nebraska.
But after Nebraska came Colorado.
And that's, for both of us, one of our favorite states. Reading the road rash.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll allude to this a few more times. So we crossed the border, and yes, we're cheering. Colorado. As we get into Colorado, we started having multiple problems. One, my chain was loose. This is the first time after having the bike for months that the chain had gotten loose, and it just wasn't in tune with my bike the way I should have been at that point.
Here, man, get out and see what happened.
What happened?
On top of that, my oil cooler started spewing oil all over my leg. So I knew I had a real problem and had to get some help. So, at the end of every day, my leg was drenched in oil. It would be pretty awful.
We went straight in and met up with some of my friends, and they offered their place for us to crash at for a couple of days.
Hey Nate, say hello.
Hero. Oh,
Hey Dave, say hello.
That's what it says on there. And you were like, what up, world? Doing the underhanded.
Days, if we needed it.
So, I'm an early riser when we travel, and it was probably around 5:30 in the morning. I got on a community site for adventure riders, enduros and other types of adventure bikes called ADE Rider. I posted on there 5:30, and I'd say by 7 o'clock there was at least 5 or 6 people that had already reached out. So a guy named Mountain Eagle and then another guy named Iron Brewer were the 2 people that were most active in responding to our posts on the Denver site.
Yeah, so by the time I woke up, we already had an itinerary of going off to meet up with the Iron Brewer. And
How bad do you think this looks? That's mountain as well.
going to the shop.
Alright.
It was really good for going up East Coast and stuff.
Thank you.
And I went through and got a new chain, a new sprocket, some things I knew were going to be problems. Got new tires there for my bike. Anyways, got everything I needed, or everything I thought I needed.
Heading over to Mountain Eagle's place.
What's wrong?
Leave her running.
We didn't really know what we were getting into when we first headed over there. There's an intensity to Mountain Eagle's garage where there's an expectation that things are going to meet a certain level or you're just not going to leave.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. No problem. Put that on video. Him falling back. That's awesome.
That's in there now.
And he saw other problems and other shortcomings with our bikes.
It was something where we expected to kind of spend a couple of hours there or not that long at all, just kind of take care of the things that were most essential at that moment. But what we ended up doing was spending the whole day into the night.
Old school.
In the dark, we rode back. to my
Yeah, we
friend's
were 2
place.
on 1.
So I'm on Nathan's bike right now. My bike, we didn't quite finish working on it because the chain and sprocket, unfortunately, would have taken 2 days to get here. But instead, I paid to have it overnighted. It was an extra $70. All said and done, probably dropped $800 or $900 on the day. But the bikes are in better shape than they've ever been since we've owned them. The guys we met today really